And I immediately, when I touch him, I'm immediately going for the bones, right there in this spine and the rib cage, and I'm feeling for the shape and the orientation of those bones. At his hips, I can feel that they are going this way more than that way. You might be able to see it there. Bones. And on his rib cage, this rib is, the arch right here is higher. And then this rib arch here is more spread out. Can you feel that, Vincenzo, right through here? So I go from your spine, I'm sliding downhill. If I go this way, I'm going up like a ski jump right here. His shoulders, I can feel this shoulder is more up towards the ceiling. This one's down more towards the table. And that was a nice breath he just took in. Down to the legs. And I can feel that this leg is higher, this leg is lower. His whole legs have a tendency to go this way more than this way. And I'm going for bones right away. So when I push across, I'm almost ignoring the soft tissue and following the direction of the bones, feeling the bones.
Oh, there.
And put the cream on the arms, pushing up. So see the difference between that versus just if I just go like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is really a very surfacey move. Whereas where I'm putting the cream on the arms, I'm actually pushing down here. My arms are going from bent to straight. From bent to straight. And you can feel what that feels like, Vincenzo. So having my legs straight, and this has to do with table height, helps me do this work where my arms are going from bent to straight.
Mm-hmm.
From bent to straight means the hand is soft first and then it pushes in. Soft and deep, soft and deep. Soft first and then deep. Okay, opening move. So this move is similar to Swedish and different than Swedish. First of all, what's similar to Swedish?
Oh, how it glides like that and then it comes around.
The general pattern, doing circles down the back.
Yeah.
Swedish will do that too. Swedish will often go like this. See how my hands are, my fingers are bent or doing that? This is what I call windshield wiper wrists. Okay. With Lomilomi, I want to keep neutral wrists so that here's my straight arm right out my middle finger. So it goes like this. Okay, and Vincenzo, feel the difference with, this is the Swedish and Lomilomi.
Yeah.
I tell you from my point of view, my body is much more firm and strong when I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when I bend my wrists here, see I'm going deep, 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 light, 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 reposition myself, and then I can go deep again, right? If I keep my fingers straight this way, I can stay at that deeper level, so I have a more consistent deep level. Can you feel that? Right there. And I go down to the middle one. And I'm going to trace your bones right here, your iliac bones, and come back. When I come down your shoulders, we have bones here, we have bones here. So I want to ground on those bones. I want to call those bones attentions to themselves. Right there when I go over your elbows, you feel what happens. If I miss the bones, you just go like that, right, versus here where I get the bones. Feel the difference? Good. So that's shoulders. Okay, watch my body here. I have I'm bending at my hips, right? And when I bend at my hips, my hands are straight and my legs are straight. Massage school often will teach bend your knees. Okay, when I bend my knees, now my arm gets bent too, and I start using upper body strength. When I can straighten my legs and straighten my arms, now I get this soft, smooth effect, right? So, and then the clinical piece, when I'm doing this, I'm actually evaluating his shoulders. How are they moving? When I push across here, when I push across here. So this one, there's a less movement. This one, that arm goes farther. This one seems to be a little more stable in my evaluation of the work than this one, which just slides. With this side of Vincento, I have this connection right here. It's like we're together, and then I go. This side I haven't really got the connection, but I start sliding anyway. Can you feel what I'm talking about there?
Yes.
All right. And then I'm going to do a double wiggly wiggly. This one I am feeling for the give, the wiggle in the costovertebral joints, where the ribs come into the spine. This side I can feel a little bit more wiggle. This side it's not as quite as easy to wiggle it. Right? Okay, so I'm going to step to this side of the table because I can get in more easily right through here than I can through here. This side of the soft tissue lets me in. This side pushes me out. I'm going to work this side first. This side is probably more flexible. So forearm up the back. Again, this is similar and different than Swedish. Where Swedish likes to come up and go like this, right? And Lomilomi wants to come straight up.
All the way up the spine.
And straight back. When we come straight up and straight back, we're on a single muscle path, or single vector here. And it's easy for the person to stay with us this way. When we come up here and go over here, we lose that deep bone focus. If you feel your breath here, Vincento.
Yeah, I feel it.
Right?
Yeah, because you're more connected.
Feel
all the way.
this connection that we maintain.
So the
rhomboids are medial to the spine, or not spine, the border of the scapula, and they're shaped like a Christmas tree here, right? I'm using the towel because I can get in more easily. I'm going to catch the muscle and traction it. Catch it. Hello bone, come to meet me. I'm going all the way down to the periosteum on the bone. Hello bone, come to meet me, and go. So this is a move that's called a compression traction. I want to introduce you to compression traction for your own body. Put your arm out. Here's the bicep. It's an extended position. If I stroke it in the extended position, I'm just kind of going over the surface. If I bend the arm to shorten that muscle, see how much deeper we can get into it. And then as I compress, if I further shorten it by moving my hand here, I can get in even deeper. So notice there's a pin of the muscle, and then we're pulling the muscle away from the insertion. That's a compression traction. If I wanted to emphasize this even more, what I could do, there's the lower body there. Okay, compress, lift your elbow here. Good, and drop it. Compress it, lift, and drop it. Compress, lift, and drop. So that would exaggerate it even more. Lomilomi stroke. So watch my body again. There's my hip hinging so that I can get my weight behind me. Okay, and then I'm squeezing kind of like kneading bread dough. And long strokes. There are 9 strokes in Lomilomi, or Lomilomi. I've already shown you a few of them. The long strokes, the Lomilomi strokes, compression tractions. So take a look over here. I'm doing a long stroke here. I have my hand perpendicular to the bone. When you do that, it's a more aggressive move. You tend to use the butt of your hand and dig right into them.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to dig even deeper, I could go like this. Only in this spot on the body do we usually dig in this way. Most spots on the body, we want to go softer. By putting my hand perpendicular to the muscle fibers, I go much, much softer. And of course we have nerves here, right? And you can feel this over here. It's quite too soft for that part of the body most of the time. This part tends to like the deeper work. I'm going to go under the front of his shoulder for a moment here. And I'm doing compression tractions here. You feel how I catch the muscle right at the bone, then pull it away. You can't see that well, but he can feel it. All right. Catch it and pull it. Catch it and pull it. You can see my body position. This is very safe for my back when I have that angle at my hips. If I round my back, no safe. But if I keep an angle right at my hips and my belly pulled in, it's very safe for my back. I'm going to drop his arm down. I like to sit on the floor. There are other options. But when I sit on the floor, my lower half is totally relaxed. Okay, now I'm going to work with his bones here to move those bones around so there's a range of motion here. And compressions on the hands. Range of motion through the wrist. Range of motion here. So here I'm following along. There's the carpal bones, there's the ulna and radius. When I turn these ulna and radius, then it's going to take his humerus and turn it all the way up into the ball and socket joint. Right, so I'll follow along what the bones are doing, and if there's a restriction anywhere, then I can go work on that. And his move really quite easily. So I take the slack out of the joints, no pushing too hard, just take the slack out, and then move the joints through their range of motion. We're just feeling what is the border of the range of motion. No pushing it too far. Okay. Here I'm going to test how does his arm do coming up over his head. And it gets a little restricted right there. I'm going to work on his teres minor muscle, which crosses this joint. It attaches to the lateral side of the scapula and the head of or close to, below the head of the humerus. I'm going to catch it and stretch it. I might even shorten it as I'm pushing it. And I'm going to do a long stroke down his ribs. Can I get those intercostals to let go? Hello there, you guys. See my wrist there, and you see my body. See how I'm pulling my body out away from him? See the difference if I jam my body into him here versus this. This is super important right here. With this, I'm reaching out of my arm. I'm not pushing through my arm. When I reach out like that, it's safe on my wrist, and I can go soft and then deep on his rib cage. In contrast, if I lean my whole body here, it's jamming my wrist, and he's going to guard against that. Versus this, and this is Lomilomi, when you're able to reach back like that. Good. And come back here and let's see, how is his shoulder moving? Feel any difference in there, Vincenzo?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
So he can move a little, come up a little bit higher there. Vibration here. I'm working here with the shoulder joint as I move here, and sometimes I'll do vibration from here. Pull him down here. Lomilomi stroke again. The Lomilomi stroke is good for circulation. If he's got swelling, You can help reduce the swelling by intentionally putting pressure on the veins where they return. I can use this to knead the muscles. I'm going pretty deep in towards the bone when I do this. How do I do that? By reaching. Reach. You know when the cats, they knead you? And when cats knead, they reach and they spread their toes. Reach and spread their toes, right? So when I'm doing this, I'm reaching, reaching, reaching. You can't really see it, but my fingers do relax. And the fingertip, like when the cats do this, they spread their toes and their fingertip pads are kind of like little antennas. Yeah? Do you get that? If you just do this? So my fingertip pads, when I do this, they have to be engaged. If I just let them hang, feel that difference, Vincento? Right now my fingertip pads are not working. But here, I'm feeling through my fingers, and I get a much better work here. Again, I'm going to long strokes. We did long strokes before in another position. And I make sure I get the bone here and the bone here. If I miss the bone, what a waste. Yeah? If I get the bone, it's good. Okay, his elbow just, the bones moved a bit. This is a compression. And again, with compressions, I'm reaching my arm out of my body. I'm not jamming in here, but I'm reaching out here. My goal with the compression is get down to his bone level. So I push through the soft tissue until I feel connection at the bones, and then I hold it. And I'm coming down to his hand here. I'm going to do long strokes on the hand. I'm using my thumb. Notice how there's a straight line from my thumb through my wrist up my arm. In order to get that straight line, I need my elbows to fold in here. If my elbows are out, this stresses the thumb joint, the wrist joint. But if I bring my elbows in here, like that, now there's a nice straight line. If I bent my knees because I had a low table, now everything's bending. But with the higher table, I can keep my legs straight. When I keep my legs straight, my arms stay stronger. That's why I like high tables. I need to be able to work with my legs straight much of the time. This is a Lomi stroke on the fingers, and his fingers feel pretty good. So, right here, I'm testing the elbow joint. When I lift his arm here, it goes down this way fine. Feel that right there? There's a little stop. So that has to do with the brachialis muscle. Right here is the brachialis muscle. Put your fingers at the eye of your elbow, then go towards the thumb side. Can you find a muscle that you can just grab? Right? If you push that muscle in, then you can make the arm bend. So that's a muscle that crosses this joint right here. The brachialis muscle, it attaches here and attaches. So I'm going to take his arm down here. And on Vincento, that muscle is right here. I'm cutting the oil. Compressing and compress it, shorten it, and traction it. Compress it, shorten it, and traction. So the muscles here, I'm going to compress it and pull it away from the origin. Compression, traction, compression, traction. You see how this is, it's easy work, no overworking. Whenever I get a chance to do more on the wrist, I take it. Feel that difference there? So there's quite a bit more movement through his elbow there. And then to put his arm across the back. His arm goes across okay. If we could get the supraspinatus muscle to let go, it might go across more easily. if this muscle here has, or if this area has freedom, the arm can go across the back. If this area here is stuck on short, you can't take the arm across the back as well, right? So I want to come up and work on the supraspinatus. And I'm going to do compression. Take a breath. And exhale. Like I'm squeezing air out of an air mattress. Take another breath. Good. And exhale. And then push right through the soft tissue and pause when I get to the bone level. And one more. So this is just a straight compression. No compression traction here, is a straight compression down to the bone. Rest. When I did that, this arm was reaching out of my shoulder joint. No jamming in here. It has to reach. Good. So soothe here. This is a little long stroke right through here. And now I'm going to work with moving the joint around. So he goes. This is good. There's a certain smoothness to it. What if he could go a little further, a little smoother? To Potment. I'm just going to tap the bone. Smooth in. Okay. There's a little more motion there, yeah? I'm visualizing the bones. I'm going to think about that top rib. So I just put my attention on it, and I got a bigger, more specific circle. If I don't think about the top rib, if I'm just thinking, say, about this shoulder, it looks like this. Now I'm thinking about that top rib. You see how just changing my attention?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to do the other side relatively quickly. Notice that I did this whole side a whole bunch of strokes without coming back over here. Right? In Lomilomi we tend to choose one area, work it thoroughly, and then move on to the next area. Sometimes we go back and forth side by side, but often we just do a whole bunch of stuff to one side and then move on. Okay, so this side is harder. I can't get in as easily. Drop this arm over the head table. Take a breath in. On your exhale, reach your arms overhead. Like flying like Superman. Good. And rest. Inhale. Okay.
Dance.
And exhale and reach. Exhale and reach. Reach, reach, reach. So when I have him do that, he's shortening his erectors. Hands down. Inhale. Exhale and reach. Good. And one more time. Inhale. Exhale and reach. Good. And rest. In Lomilomi, I will ask my client to do some work now and then. Generally, it still feels good, yeah? If you give them specific instructions so they don't have to think too much, then you can just do it. You can get in deeper there by shortening those erectors. So that's what we know there. So this side is harder. This is where the ribs, you know, this side they sloped down, this side they come up. So let's see, can we get in here? Hello there, come to meet me. That's the bottom end of the scapula. Okay, ribs and specifically periosteum, come to meet me. So my goal here is to be able to compress all the way down through the soft tissue to the periosteum, or the skin on the bone. Have you seen chicken bones, how they have a sort of a skin on them? I want to get down to that periosteum, catch it, and stretch it. I'm using my thumb, but look at this straight line between my thumb, my wrist, And look at how my back end, my butt is coming away from my work, so that my arms are reaching out of my shoulders. That's what makes it soft. The other thing that makes it soft is that my fingertips are grounded. Right there. Catch it. If I had fingertips, and the other thing is my elbow. See how this lock in the elbow? The lock in the elbow helps keep it all strong. Hello, rhomboids, come to meet me. That's a good one right there. Good. Soothe. Lomi strokes. Hello there, arm. Almost like washing clothes, wringing the water out through the clothes. Long strokes. Hello there, bone. Vibration. Add that vibration. Just kind of working on squeezing and shaking the tension out of that arm. Okay, there's compression traction right on his rib cage. Hello, ribs. Would you like to let go? Hello, everybody. Oh, so hello. How many times have we said hello in our life?
Many.
Quite millions, right? You know what happens energetically when we say hello to someone? There's this opening, energetic opening that happens where we connect. If you pick up the telephone and say hello, it's with the expectation that you're going to have a connection with the person, right? So when I say hello, my whole body prepares to connect. Does that make sense? So here, if I feel something like odd or like I can't get it, I'm like, oh, hello there, Spot. And what happens when I say hello there, Spot, is I relax more, I open up, I get ready to connect. And if I'm ready to connect, then he's more likely to respond with connection. So hello is a very powerful word. We have a full body response to hello that makes us relaxed and ready to receive. Okay, so there is a little adjustment through his wrist there. How do I do it? Range of motion. No thrusting use of force. I'm always happy when adjustments happen. I wait for them sometimes. And as I say, the range of motion is absolutely in our scope of practice. And adjustment is the body's response as opposed to something that I do. Right?
Yeah.
What I'm doing is range of motion. I never do thrusting use of force. So deep, and then hello there, muscle. Would you like to let go? And then I'm going to go down the rib cage here at the intercostals. Because the other thing that's going to prevent motion is the rib cage. Okay, come back here. Now that's a little easier. Vibration, my focus is right up here, the humerus in the ball and socket joint. So a little pause here to talk about ribs and shoulders. Our shoulders should drape over our rib cage and rest. If my rib cage is contracted here, now all of these muscles have to work hard. If I can say rib cage, come on, rise up underneath the shoulders, like the shoulders were football shoulder pads. Now the shoulders can be relaxed. See what happens to my rib cage when I step forward? It lifts up off my shoulder, off my ribs. So now that gives better support to my shoulders. So when I'm working on somebody's shoulders, if I can get the rib cage to be both relaxed but engaged, alive, then it's going to help the shoulders. Arms. This is the Lomilomi stroke. I have my fingertips engaged. I've got my weight behind me here. If I was down here, I'd be doing a lot more work. With my legs straight, I can just lean into it. Right here, with my legs straight, I can just lean into him. As soon as I bend, I have to push in. But when I'm straight-legged, I can drop my weight in. I can get up high over him and drop it in. So those were compressions I just did. And hand. Okay, so this hand feels a little more tense than the other one did. I'm just coming in to tap the bone, and that helped. Here's another interesting thing. On the scale of things, we can have way too tight on the one end. That joint can't move at all. The other end, we have loosey-goosey, limp. There's just no tone in there. Neither is good, right? You don't want the joint doing this, and you don't want it like that. We want right here in the middle, where it's relaxed but toned, right? Now, how do we get that? The same strokes. Let's say compression or compression traction. If the joint is loosey-goosey, it'll tone up. If the joint is too tense, it'll relax. Same exact stroke. Why? Why can I do the same stroke to tighten it or relax it? Any idea? It's because I am not mechanically changing the tissue the way I would a screwdriver unscrews a screw. What I'm doing is more like a flashlight. It's like, okay, tissue, feel this right here.
Yeah.
Then the tissue needs to say, oh, I need to wake up, I need to tone up, or oh, I need to back off.
Yeah.
So it's the tissue that makes the choice, tone up or relax. All I'm doing is holding with listening hands, with just the rate of tension that I can feel. If I can feel that tissue, the tissue can feel itself. If I go too much into doing, let me move this thing, the tissue cannot feel heard. So my goal here is to touch in a way that the tissue is totally feeling heard. When the tissue feels heard, it'll make the choice, tone up or relax. Make sense? We get into trouble when we focus too much on doing. We need to listen first.
Yeah.
And the listening is what makes it soft. When the body feels heard, it lets go right away. Yeah. Okay. So here, there's that elbow joint. We're going to free that up a little bit more. And this stroke is pretty effective, pretty consistent that I can get the elbow to release by doing a compression traction right there on the brachialis. Okay, so there, that's a little better. And his arm goes across. I'm not going to take the time to do this. I will. You know, this one was tighter and this one is laxer. There's like this supraspinatus is kind of stuck on long, where this one was more stuck short. I would actually like this one to tone up a little bit more. Take a breath. And exhale. Take a breath. And take a breath. Good, and rest and soothe. Let's see what we have here now. Oh, that arm. I don't know. Maybe it's better. Can you feel from inside your body? Beep beep comes up. Okay. Here is soothing. So right through there, I would love those muscles to let go a little bit more. What if I tap? We're doing it in order to encourage the muscles that attach right here to let go. And that helped some there. Okay, shoulder goes up and down. With this, the clavicle is moving up and down like a pump handle, up to his ears, down. So when I gave him that suggestion, he went further. I'm looking for more tone in here. I'm going to go in a circle. With the circle, that clavicle moves like a compass. You know the compass that you draw a circle with?
Mm-hmm.
Good, and that's a little better. The clavicle attaches right there in the front. That's the grounding spot. And then top rib.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to come out here and do some compressions on the blade of the scapula. Periosteum, come to meet me. Periosteum. I call for periosteum because otherwise I may just slide over the top here. I actually want to go down. Periosteum. Good. Periosteum, periosteum. So there's compressions with a little compression traction. Let's put them back up here. Oh, better.